Hello everyone, welcome to Crypto Basics Coach podcast. I'm Marco. I'm here to help people navigate this topic so as to benefit from the opportunity this new technology provides and not get distracted or put off from the nonsense there is out there about crypto. Anything and everything presented and discussed, whether here or in our sessions, is of an educational nature and should never be taken as financial advice. Always do your due diligence and consult professionals before making any final decisions. Hi folks, hope you're doing well. One of the first questions that I usually get from people is, what can they expect from a coaching session or coaching in general? And for me, the answer is pretty simple. My whole aim is to move you on from where you're at. Okay, and that's going to depend on different people and what they need. So for example, you may have heard about crypto. You're not quite sure about it, you're not sure how to get started. So my job's going to be in getting you to a point where you understand central exchanges, how to buy crypto, how to store it, and some of the things that you might be able to do with it. Okay, some people are quite not comfortable, not confident in that first step. So that could be you. Someone else might already have a fair bit of knowledge about the industry, but what they're looking for is some guidance and some help around, what are some of the use cases so that they can then determine, which one are they potentially going to invest in. Or some people may already be at those stages. They've got initial questions around what sort of structures and who should they go talk to about those structures and what are the pros and cons about some of those structures. And I've covered it in other podcasts, or I've also now if I haven't mentioned, there's also TikTok and Instagram. So I'm putting up videos there as well. But basically, what structure should you use, considering about tax minimization and also considering protection. So it could be that that's the item that is holding you up, that you're wanting to do some things on. Something else could be you just have a bunch of general questions that you want to put to bed in order to move on. I mean, something that I've learned a long time ago is when you're learning stuff, you need to constantly reset your foundation of knowledge. And if you're carrying forward 2, 3, 4 things that you're not quite sure about, that's probably going to slow you up in moving forward. And it doesn't matter what the topic is in life. Okay, if you've got unanswered questions or you've got concerns, it's going to slow you down. So you need to get them and put them to bed. So it could be that you need a session around general questions. Or you may be established, you may already have a bunch of crypto, or you're looking at acquiring some, but what you're interested in is you don't just want to sit there and be holding those assets. What you're wanting to do is actually trying to generate some yield. Okay, so you want to get some cash flow from them. So that might be the conversation that you're requiring or the help that you need. There might also be, and I normally cover this whether the person needs it or not, but we usually talk about security measures. Okay, where are you storing your cold wallets? Which cold wallets? What are you doing with your passwords? Are you accessing things through your mobile that you use every day or your laptop that you use every day? Do you go to a cafe and log into their, public Wi-Fi, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Okay, so there's as you know, your funds are going to be in your full control. It's not like a bank where you can ring them up and go, hey, what happened to my money? So you need to be responsible and educated on how is it best to set yourself up from a security perspective. Okay, a web browser extension is a good idea, for example, for some of the hot wallets. And again, I can go through that with you. Or you might also be looking at, what opportunity? How do I identify opportunities? And some of those can be through your own research, or whether you're involved in Discord groups or other chats or just YouTube videos. Some of it can also come from your own research about what you hear, or you might hear things from other people. Okay, so what should you do around a due diligence from identifying opportunities that you may want to investigate? Or again, something else that some people are looking to do is, beyond a few YouTube channels and perhaps working with myself, what other communities should you become a member of? Which ones are going to provide you some value add? Okay. And again, it comes down to the type of people. You can get into the Discord groups where there's a lot of chat. You may not like that. You might prefer something more formal, perhaps even a structured training program, which some of the channels are providing. Of course, they do come at a cost. There's some low-cost alternatives being set up at the moment. The National Crypto Association is one of those that I've been looking into that I'd recommend beginners to look into. So the community is really what is going to support you going forward. Yes, it can help you identify opportunities, but more importantly, it can help answer questions. You might have the one-off question that you're able to just post on those channels and you're able to get your answer. And again, you're able to move on. So the purpose of coaching is twofold. It's either to give you information that you don't have, that you're looking to acquire, and you're wanting to have a conversation with someone. And also, you don't know what you don't know. And that's the role of a coach as well, is to identify, well, here are the next steps that you should be taking, the next areas that you should be looking into. And the other second most important area of having a coach or a mentor or a tutor, call them what you like, is that there's information that you could spend tens or hundreds of hours acquiring yourself and having to filter through, working out what's real, what's not, what's credible, what isn't, potentially what's a scam, what's real. Or you can shortcut that process. That's the whole purpose of having a coach or a mentor, is to be able to shortcut that process, where instead of you spending 50 to 100 hours, and everyone's time is valuable, is that they're able to shortcut that. You might be able to have a couple of sessions with myself and you get everything that you need and you're able to move on. Okay. And I've discussed this before. The sessions with me totally vary on where you're at and what you want and what you're after and what you need. Okay, some people can deal with what they need in a 30-minute free session. Others may need 2 or 3 sessions. For the more sophisticated stuff, someone might need 5 or 6 sessions. Okay, it totally depends on what you're after, and as I say, on what helps you get unblocked from where you are now and is enabling you to take that next step. Whether you're a beginner, you're an intermediate, or you're advanced, what essentially is holding you up in moving you onto that track to achieving your goals. Okay, that's the whole purpose of the coach. That's what I look to do. That's what I'm good at doing. Quantities, who knows, until we converse, discuss, and work out what it is that you need. Now, homework time. So last week, the homework was, why have central banks been buying more gold than in any other time in human history? Hopefully you've looked into that, and as well as understanding why they're doing it, it may have also given you some heads up as to perhaps what you should be doing. So I hope you found that interesting. This week's homework, well, what I want you to do is go and look into, and there are different terms for this depending on the country you come from, but typically in regulated countries, there are 2 definitions. Here in Australia, we call it sophisticated. In the States, we call it accredited investor. And they differentiate from retail investors. What I want you to do is go and have a look at those definitions, and more importantly, understand, well, what opportunities do these sophisticated accredited investors have access to where retail doesn't? And why do those opportunities tend to generate more yield, whereas the retail ones don't? Okay, so go in and have a look at that. You could probably start by going to your regulatory authority. Here in Australia, it's called ASIC, A-S-I-C. Over in the States, it's called SEC. Okay, go and have a look at their definitions, and it'll give you an understanding of what criteria do you need to meet those definitions and the pros and cons. Take care, have a great week, and we'll catch up soon enough. Cheers. If you found this information helpful and are interested in a more hand-holding approach while navigating this complex industry, please visit cryptobasicscoach.com, that's basics with an S, and book a session. The first 30-minute session is free, and we can get to know each other, talk about what your aims are, what you're looking to do, and how I might be able to possibly help. I've helped people get started, set up exchange accounts, wallets, DeFi platforms, and general knowledge. Look forward to speaking with you. Cheers.